First thing when you pull up, greeted by 2 guard dogs. Look how tough they are.
Where's your voice at?
We're going to go visit the Bartos. That is Aja and Leah Barto. Now, Aja is a former CrossFit Games competitor, baseball player. He was played for the Rangers for a little stint, and then also competed at Olympic lifting. Leah, his wife, was also a regionals CrossFit competitor and did some competitions at Olympic lifting as well. So we're gonna go in here. I've never been to their garage, so I'm operating on the assumption we are going to walk into a big Olympic lifting platform, probably stacked with gorgeous competition plates, probably a nice helico or works and bar up on the bar rack, and probably nice change plates, maybe some fractionals. Can't wait to see. What do you guys think he's gonna have? Stay tuned. Hey guys, the Garage Gym Specialist here, and we have a very special episode with you guys on Season 2, Episode 3, featuring one of my favorite people, Miss Aja Barto. What's up, guys?
Yeah, so I started, I played a few years, I played competitive baseball like all my life, so like when select baseball was basically created, that's when I jumped in when I was 10 years old. I played all the way up through high school, and then competitively in college. I played at Tulane University for 3 years, and then I ended up playing with the Rangers organization for a few years. My strength and conditioning coach turned me on to CrossFit, this little thing called CrossFit, and I dove into that head first and had a few-year competitive career in there from 2011 through about 2013. Took on Olympic weightlifting in 2014, and then kind of shut it down in 2015, and now I've been just kind of a recreational, fitness enthusiast since about 2015.
So back to being like a normal person versus a higher level competitive athlete. So based off of your career that you just gave us, and some of the things I want to associate, and I was fortunate to be able to watch you prepare for the CrossFit Games when you were training for them. And one of the things I wanted to point out, when you were training for them, you did it on your own, which is very unique. To train at a high level and essentially the world's largest fitness platform out there, you obviously had some high level programming and coaching, but you did it by yourself. And I want to associate that with the garage gymmer, because the garage gymmer has to, or usually trains by themselves, and has to get in the right mindset. And I want to touch on that with you, and maybe you can give us some pointers or some direction on how you got in the right mindset to train for one of the highest level fitness competitions in the world at that time.
Yeah. I think it's just, one, I didn't really have a choice. I didn't allow myself a choice, and it was just kind of what I did, and it was what I had access to. It was what was convenient for me at the time. And I almost considered almost like training at a deficit. My biggest focus was, if I knew that I could put out the energy and the times and the loadings and the efforts that I was looking for on my own, and when I stepped into a realm where there was other people, or there was competitors at my side, I knew it was going to be pretty easy. So or easier, shall I say. So it was kind of that mentality and mindset that I wrapped my head around, where it was like, if I could suffer alone, where there's no music, there's nobody else cheering me on, there's no other environmental stimulus going on, then when those things came in, it would only help my performance. And so that is the thought that I have after the fact. But going back and thinking about why I trained on my own, it was convenient, obviously. It was in my own garage. It was something that I could roll out of bed and I could do, but it was really what I had access to. And at that current moment in time in my training, there was not a lot of people that were kind of on the same level that I was, so it was hard for me to connect with other people and to find group environments that could push me the way that I could probably push myself on my own.
So essentially, a lot of times we try to create this motivational environment, whether it be posters on the wall, music, whatever, training partners, and you essentially took those elements out on purpose to know that when you reintroduce those, it's going to act more as a stimulus, and you came up with this on your own? Was a coach told you this, or how did this come about?
This is just how I've always been, and it's there's a specific type of motivation that you have to create yourself to do those types of things, and even like to the garage gymmers today, like for people to be able to train on their own in their own garage, there's something innate or intrinsic within them that they need to inspire themselves to train on their own, whether it is a motivation to improve their health and fitness, or to chase a specific goal, or maybe it's just improving their quality of life or their health. That's something that I shared when I was training on my own too, where I just had that drive within me, and I had that burning passion to be the best that I could be, and to achieve what I thought my potential could achieve. And I think that's kind of what helped fuel my fire when I was training on my own, was to have that internal motivation, and really just don't make excuses and don't allow myself any other option.
So essentially your commitment to your why is what drove you through that. So as a garage gymmer, even though you're not preparing for CrossFit Games or a high-level competition, resorting to your why can get you in the right mindset to work through these tough times when you don't want to do it. And like you said, the commitment to it, the convenience factor of it being here, there's no excuses. So we can't make the excuses and sit there and say, oh, this, that, or anything else. It's all about the commitment and sticking to that commitment. And I absolutely love it. Now, I understood you developed some of your Olympic lifting technique because of a condensed garage. Give us a little details and a little explanation on how you eventually obtained a 300 plus pound snatch, but a lot of that was done in a garage. In some tight spaces.
Yeah, I mean, a garage is a garage, right? It's now becoming this revolution of people are putting these awesome pieces of equipment and matting it out, and they're turning a garage ultimately into their own gym. But a garage is a garage. It's a place to have a deep freezer to store shoes or different tools or whatnot. So when I was living at my folks' house, when I had just stopped playing ball, I was actually planning on going back to school. And the garage was still a garage, so I kind of moved a couple things around and put up a rack and put down one 6x4 mat. And obviously I was doing my Olympic lifting training on this one 6x4 foot mat, and in front of me was a bunch of bikes, and then 4 feet in front of me was a bunch of bikes, and 4 feet behind me was a giant shelving unit. So I knew that I couldn't miss forward, I couldn't miss back. So I got real good at the Olympic lifts because my margin of error was very minimal. And it goes back to the same approach that I had with training on my own in the garage. It was almost training at a deficit. If I knew that I could hit lifts, maximal lifts, sub-maximal lifts in an environment where adversity was at its highest, I knew that when I was in a setting where there was other things that were going my way, it would make it a lot easier.
So, over the years, your training has completely changed for both of you guys. We go from being competitive athletes, competing at a high level, to working out to simply have fun. Show me some of the fun devices you use. And these are some of the devices I've never seen in any garage gym, and I'd like to say there's probably not very many out there with these types of devices.
Yeah, we got some toys in here. So let's take a look over here at the slack line first and foremost. So this, usually when you're looking at a slack line, this is pretty much like a F-150 strap that you would use almost in the back of your vehicle. But this one is mounted on a structure that you can even work to a point where down. Let's see if I can get this to the camera.
One and done. I love it.
And you can spin it around if you're elite like me,
obviously,
or you could go backwards with it. All right. Make sure you get this back flip dismount. Okay. Ready? Enjoy that.
3, 2, 1. Now the size 16 canoes probably help a little bit. So how would you implement this in a workout? Would it be something you just start a warm up with, or maybe do getting a heavy breathing state and a fatigue state, then try to attempt it? How have you utilized this in some of your training?
I mean, yeah, there's any way to play with this, but I mean, think of this more in the sense of play. So this isn't going to deliver the same stimulus as would like a high intensity interval training session or like a weightlifting session, but this is more in the sense of working on things like balance and coordination. But also, this is just a really cool way to just open up your workout to try to heighten the senses and just work on those kind of those intangible skills. Like I said, I use this usually before a lot of my lower specific days. I'll just walk on it for 5 to 10 minutes. And what I try to work up to is see if I can stay on this slack line for 5 minutes straight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. without falling off.
Definitely challenging yourself. I love it. Now, slackline requires a lot of balance. Now, Leah, you're over here on another device, which is a pretty unique device, and it's called the Endo board. Now, this kind of looks like a roller with a board on top of it. It's called the balance trainer. Tell us a little bit about the Endo board and how you use it for your training.
Yeah, so the Leah was on the Endo board over here, and this is a really cool, again, I would like to call it toy, but something that will work on balance and coordination as well. But you have this almost, it looks like a pretty sturdy half foam roller with this wooden board on it, and this is gonna challenge more left to right than forward and back, but just again a game, or I guess you could phrase it as, you know, just playtime, adult play, as you could say. And it's not necessarily something that's gonna, you know, leave you wrecked after a workout or leave you drenched in sweat, but it's something to just enjoy and just kind of warm up the senses before maybe you go into something like some strength training or some fitnessing or whatever it might be. But
So good for activation, then. Absolutely. So you do it in a warm up, you can do it just to play around.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about your setup, is that a lot of this is for play. It's not a specific, oh, I'm trying to do this to attain that. It is essentially to have fun and be physical.
yeah, there's no rules to it, and I think too often we get caught up in this regimen and routine where it's like I have to feel a specific way after my training session. I have to lift so much weights. I have to do so many repetitions where we don't break away and just kind of allow ourselves to be kids again and find things that bring us pleasure, bring us enjoyment, knowing that, you know, after using them, they don't have to have that same effect as if I'm laying on the ground and pull my sweat, feeling super fatigued. You're still getting a great session from this. It's just, you know, different responses and different benefits from playing around on these two pieces of equipment.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. See? Guilt by association. You get better just being around them. We have an unbelievable episode, part 1 and part 2 coming to you guys. And I can't wait to feature and show you some different unique angles. And we're going to close this whole session off with a cold plunge. Now I'm really excited. Stay tuned.
There you go.
Sit up in the back all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.